We ride together.
We die together.
Bad marriage for life.
Chris, I apologize to you.
Will Smith didn't just fall off, he got evicted from relevance like Hollywood filed a restraining order on him. We're talking about a man who once saved the world in Independence Day, dropped bars and getting jiggy with it, and ruled box offices like a one-man empire. Now he's out here using AI-generated crowds because real humans don't even bother showing up to his concerts anymore. That's not reinvention. That's a public downfall happening frame by frame. Watching Will try to rebuild his image is like watching someone perform CPR on a goldfish. Technically impressive, but deep down, everyone knows it's hopeless. There was a time when Will Smith was the blueprint for cool. He could smack an alien, flash that $1 million smile, and the world would lose its mind. Back then, every movie he touched turned to gold. Every track he dropped became an anthem, and his charm could light up a whole city. But those days are long gone, deader than his marriage rumors, and that's really saying something. What we're witnessing now isn't just a fall from grace. It's a masterclass in how to burn down your own legacy one headline at a time. From the Oscar slap heard around the world to crying on camera over bizarre self-healing nonsense, Will managed to turn his once golden reputation into a never-ending PR disaster. Each move feels more desperate than the last, like he's fighting ghosts of the man he used to be. The sad part, even his digital fans look tired of defending him. Imagine the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air becoming the poster child for what happens when fame turns toxic. The man who once made everyone laugh, cry, and cheer is now stuck in a virtual echo chamber, surrounded by fake applause and broken pride. What a wild, tragic twist for one of Hollywood's former kings. The whole mess didn't start at the Oscars. That was just the grand finale. The disaster had been brewing long before the slap ever echoed through Hollywood. While everyone was busy praising Will for being the perfect family man, Jada was out here redefining the word entanglement like it was a lifestyle brand. She turned marriage drama into trending content, and poor Will looked like he needed a GPS just to locate his dignity. That infamous Red Table Talk episode? Pure emotional torture on camera. Jada sat there calmly talking about her entanglement with August Alsina like she was explaining a bad yoga pose, all while Will sat across from her, blinking like a man trapped in a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. The whole thing felt less like therapy and more like a public execution of his pride. You could see every ounce of heartbreak play out on his face in real time, and millions of people watched it like a reality show finale. But here's where it got even sadder. Instead of handling things privately like any sane person would, Will decided to keep playing along in public. He tried to spin it, joke about it, even act unbothered. But the internet wasn't buying it. Memes exploded overnight. The Fresh Prince of Despair, The Pursuit of Sadness, and Men in Tears all over timelines. Even 50 Cent slid into his DMs asking if he was okay. And when 50 Cent is checking on your mental health, you know the situation is bad. That whole perfect couple image shattered in real time. And Will went from beloved icon to viral meme, all because he couldn't see that his own house was collapsing right in front of the world. Man, the poor guy was already down bad, but then came March 27th, 2022, the night Will Smith decided to hit the self-destruct button on his entire career. Chris Rock cracked a harmless joke about Jada's bald head, and instead of laughing it off, Will stormed the stage like he was about to headline WrestleMania. Nobody in that room asked for this WWE crossover episode. The slap itself was shocking, sure. But what happened after? That was pure, unfiltered cringe cinema. Will strutted back to his seat, face tight, voice shaking, and started yelling, "Keep my wife's name out your mouth," like he was defending the honor of a woman who had already dragged his name through the mud for the entire internet to see. It wasn't bravery, it was heartbreak in motion. The man looked like he was fighting for respect that had left the building years ago. People didn't see a hero. They saw a meltdown caught live in 4K. And Hollywood didn't waste a second reacting. The Academy banned him for 10 years, which in celebrity terms basically means we'll see you never. Movies got pulled, projects got canceled faster than expired milk, and suddenly the guy who once printed money at the box office couldn't even book a role in a streaming ad. Will went from red carpets to red flags overnight. But instead of taking a step back to reflect, what did he do? He went full damage control delusion mode. Out of nowhere, he tried launching the most desperate comeback the entertainment world had ever seen. And he started with music. Oh boy, the music. After 2 decades off the mic, Will returned with a track called Pretty Girls, and it was rough. The song was so painfully bland, it made his old hits sound like lyrical masterpieces. The chorus? Just him saying, "I like pretty girls," over and over again until your brain begged for mercy. It wasn't a comeback. It was a cry for help wrapped in auto-tune. Will thought he was reigniting the old magic, but all he did was remind the world how far he'd fallen from it. The man who once made Miami an anthem was now dropping tracks that couldn't even trend on TikTok. Fans weren't just disappointed, they were offended. The backlash hit harder than the slap itself. People flooded the comments with lines like, "This sounds like a midlife crisis set to auto-tune," and "Even my Spotify is embarrassed." The like to dislike ratio? Brutal. It looked like Logan Paul's crypto portfolio, straight in the red, and that's not the kind of viral moment anyone dreams about. But instead of quietly taking the L, Will doubled down like he was determined to make things worse. Next thing you know, he's everywhere, popping up on podcasts, streams, and collabs like a desperate ex who refuses to take the hint. He teamed up with KSI and XQC, but those collaborations felt less like creative projects and more like hostage negotiations. The same man who once had chemistry with aliens and Men in Black couldn't even vibe with a YouTuber holding a gaming controller. It was painful to watch. Seeing Will try to connect with Gen Z was like watching someone's dad attempt a TikTok dance. Technically happening, but spiritually uncomfortable. Every interview felt like a new level of secondhand embarrassment. Will would sit there dropping big names like Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar, acting like he still ran the industry. He'd brag about calling them up for advice like that somehow made him relevant again. But while he was flexing imaginary phone calls, his streaming numbers were tanking, lower than a limbo bar at a kid's birthday party. Then came his big claim that Kendrick told him, "Just say that shit you've always been scared to say." Sounds inspiring, right? Except what Will ended up saying wasn't deep or bold, it was just more recycled, watered-down pop. Music so generic it felt like it was written by a committee of divorced dads trying to sound cool. It was tragic, watching one of Hollywood's biggest icons turn into a walking meme, desperately chasing the youth that had already moved on without him. Then came the ultimate desperate move, the one that made everyone finally say, "Yeah, he's lost it." The AI crowd scandal. Will posted concert footage that was so obviously fake, even deep fake creators were like, "Bro, what is this?" The clip showed fans with extra arms, glitchy faces, and signs that said things like, "I love you, Will," while the crowd moved like NPCs controlled by a broken PlayStation controller with stick drift. It looked less like a concert and more like a bad simulation glitching out in real time. And the irony? The man who once fought robots in Robot was now using robots, well, artificial intelligence, to pretend people still cared about him. The fall off couldn't have been scripted better if it was a Netflix drama. The irony was so thick you could slice it with a lightsaber. Social media went absolutely feral. Twitter, TikTok, Reddit. Everyone roasted him into digital ashes. Comments poured in like, even AI fans wouldn't show up for that. And he's so desperate, he's literally generating his own audience. The memes were merciless. Screenshots of his fake crowd side by side with cartoon mobs, jokes about Will Smith Simulator 2.0, and captions like, "When even ChatGPT wouldn't buy your tickets." It was funny, sure, but also kind of sad, because this wasn't just another bad PR move, it was a cry for validation from someone who used to have the whole world cheering for him. The man who once filled stadiums with real energy was now surrounded by digital ghosts. That's when it hit people. This wasn't arrogance anymore. It was loneliness disguised as a comeback, and it was heartbreaking to watch. He had it all. The perfect career, the perfect image, the perfect life. Will Smith was once Hollywood's golden child, the guy who could do no wrong. But instead of protecting what he built, he turned his personal drama into public entertainment and his professional moves into headline-worthy disasters. He went from being the man everyone wanted to work with to the guy everyone avoids, like a sketchy crypto investment that promises guaranteed returns. The saddest part? Other stars have hit rock bottom and still climbed their way back. Robert Downey Jr. literally went to prison and ended up as Iron Man, one of the biggest comebacks ever. Britney Spears had a full public meltdown, shaved her head, and still came out loved and celebrated. But Will, his so-called comeback just feels fake, forced, and painfully thirsty for attention. Every move he makes feels like a desperate attempt to remind the world he's still relevant, and instead, it's backfiring in real time. Each new interview feels more robotic, every song sounds like a cry for validation, and those AI crowd videos, they become punchlines, not proof of popularity. Instead of rebuilding his legacy, he's digging the hole deeper with every post, every promo, every awkward moment. Fans aren't rooting for him anymore. They're just watching out of curiosity, like it's an ongoing reality show titled The Fresh Prince of Falling Off. And his latest projects, nothing but flops wrapped in disappointment and served with a big side of cringe. The Bad Boys sequel did okay, sure, but let's be honest, that was pure nostalgia. People didn't show up for Will, they showed up for the memory of what he used to be. Everything else Will's done since then has been met with a silence so heavy, it feels like those painfully awkward family dinners where everyone's pretending nothing's wrong. Even his most loyal fans have started talking about him like he's gone, like the real Will Smith died the night of that Oscar slap. The energy, the charisma, the spark, all vanished in one loud, unforgettable moment. The truth is, Will Smith's career isn't just in trouble. It's a full-blown cautionary tale now. He became the perfect warning sign for what happens when you care more about your image than your authenticity. For years, he played the part, the perfect husband, the perfect father, the perfect movie star. But behind that flawless act, everything was falling apart. And when the truth finally came out, the mask shattered, and so did the public's trust. Instead of owning his flaws and being real, Will tried to polish the cracks, pretending everything was fine while the whole world watched him crumble. That's the tragedy. Not the slap, not the scandals, but the fact that he couldn't just be human. Now, every word he says feels scripted, every smile feels forced, and every project feels like an echo of who he used to be. At this point, Will Smith isn't chasing a comeback. He's chasing a ghost. He's trying to convince himself that the spotlight never faded, even though the audience has moved on, the industry has moved on, and the magic that once defined him is long gone. Watching someone this talented spiral like this doesn't even feel entertaining anymore. It just feels sad. But what do you think? Can Will Smith ever truly make a comeback, or has he already written the final chapter of his own Hollywood story? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next one.